What you see behind me is a chart, and we're about to fill it in with 5 common scoliosis exercises. You've probably seen some of them online, others you may have even tried. But here's the question I get all the time. Which of these exercises actually help, and which might make things worse? Today, I'm going to help you figure that out. We're going to break down each exercise and rate them from bad to good to help us understand what really moves the needle forward when it comes to scoliosis management. So let's get to it. Before we start, I'm going to explain how the rating system works. So we'll judge each exercise based on 6 key factors. First, mobility. Does it improve how well your spinal surrounding joints move? And this is important because commonly with scoliosis, people develop a stiff spine, especially as they get older. Second, strength. Does it help build strength in the right areas to support better alignment? Third, endurance. Does it help your body hold that new posture over time and not just during the exercise? Fourth, we're going to ask, is it curve specific? Is it tailored, or can it be adapted to your unique curve? Fifth, ease of use. Can you do it at home? Can you do it safely? Can you do it without needing a clinic setup or a therapist to provide you with feedback? And lastly, number 6, does it train your spine in all 3 dimensions? Meaning, does it go from side to side, front to back, and rotation? This is key because scoliosis is a 3-dimensional problem and needs a 3-dimensional solution. Now, if an exercise checks all these boxes, it's probably worth you doing. If it doesn't, well, you'll want to know that before you waste time doing it. And where I can, I'm going to show you how to tweak these exercises to make them more effective. All right, so let's get to it. The first thing I did was actually Googled scoliosis exercises. And this article ranked really highly, and it caught my eye because it's called 7 Best Stretches Exercises for Scoliosis. The first exercise that came up was pelvic tilts. This one shows up in almost every scoliosis article online. You simply lie on your back and gently tilt your pelvis forwards and backwards. But let's run it through the exercise matrix. So, does it help with mobility? Yes, especially in the lower spine. Strength? Well, not so much. Maybe a little if you're new to doing this exercise. Endurance? No. Is it curve specific? No. Is it easy to use? Yeah, it's actually very easy, but some people still make mistakes with this simple exercise. And does it address all 3 planes of motion? No. It does 1 plane of motion. That's moving forwards and backwards in one direction. So it's gentle, it's not dangerous, but it's not a powerful exercise either. So on this rating system, it gets about 2.5 out of 6. So the next exercise they call the leg and arm raises. And this simply means lifting both arms and legs off the floor at the same time. Now here's where it gets interesting. If you're a younger person with scoliosis, your spine might actually already be extended. So more extension, i.e. bending backwards like this, isn't a good idea. But if you're over 50 and your scoliosis is more degenerative in nature, with a more hunched forward spine, then this actually might be a good thing. But lifting both the arms and legs at the same time is hard and could potentially strain your lower back. So let's put it through the matrix. Mobility, not really, doesn't really do much unless you're really focusing on upper back mobility. Strength, yeah, sure. You're going to have to use strength to be able to lift up both arms and both legs at the same time. Endurance, yes, if you do this for many repetitions. Curve specific, no. Ease of use, some people can do this pretty easily. Other people might actually end up hurting themselves, but we're going to say yes, with a little instruction this can be done. All 3 planes addressed? No, it's just 1 plane. The forwards and the backwards. So overall, I'd give it a 3 out of 6. But with a couple of tweaks, you can make this exercise a 5 out of 6. And I'm going to show you how now. Okay, instead of trying to lift up both arms and legs at the same time, which actually can be very difficult, I want you to think about your spine. So let's say you have the apex off to the right. So looking at you from behind, we would call this a dextroscoliosis. If you were to lift your left hand up like this, and take your right hand down like this, you would actually start to correct that scoliosis in the left and right of the frontal plane. Now, if you tense your hands up like this and walk them away from each other, you get a really nice decompression in that spine. Then we could think about saying, okay, I'm going to lift my head, maybe with my hand, and probably just one leg. So it would be ideal actually to lift the opposite leg. So lift my left hand here and then my right leg. And from this position, I'm getting a stretch. So I'm working on the mobility, I'm working on the strength, over time working on the endurance. It's pretty easy to do, but I'm not correcting all three planes. I'm actually just correcting one, well, two, I guess, because we're doing the frontal plane and then a little bit of extension for people with a more bended forward or kyphotic posture. So this starts to tick way more boxes than the other exercise of just the plane, lifting the legs and the arms. So this is how I would modify that exercise. So I scrolled down to look at the other exercises and I wasn't very impressed. You see, none of them are specific when it comes to scoliosis. For example, this one, the latissimus dorsi stretch, is okay for mobility, but not strength or endurance. It's not curve specific and it's not really addressing all three planes, but it's kind of easy to do. But to make this better, you would have to know your curve. You could actually use traction and also add in motion from another plane. To their credit, the authors did mention that there are other more targeted exercise programs out there, like the Leon method, Stroth method, and of course the program that I teach, the Scoliosis Correction Protocol. So let's have a look at one of those more specific exercises now. Okay, now just taking one exercise out of an entire program doesn't do the program justice. But some people might see this exercise online and try and copy it. So I wanted to explain my understanding of it and how it rates in the matrix. It's from the Stroth exercise program and it's called the sail exercise. Now the Stroth method has been around for a very long time and the sail posture is one of its visual trademarks. It's meant to lengthen and derotate and stabilize the spine. Along with these specific techniques, therapists train specific breathing techniques called directional breathing. And they do this when they do many of these Stroth exercises. Okay, so how does it rate? Mobility, yes. Strength, yes. Endurance, if you hold this posture for a long time, yes. Curve specific, yes. Ease of use, well, one of the criticisms of the Stroth method, and it's something I hear from people I work with all the time, is that they are not easy to use without instruction. You need instruction to be able to know how to breathe, how to set the actual positions up, and how to overcome common errors. So it's not easy without help. And does it do all three planes of motion? Unfortunately not. This one is a main correction in just the left and right, or what we call the frontal plane. So the exercise is a very good exercise, but if you try it off YouTube without proper instruction, you might miss a lot of the nuances which make it effective. But it's solid. It gets a 4 out of 6. Now, lastly, I want to look at one of the exercises from the Scoliosis Correction Protocol. This is called the Scoliosis Salute. It's designed to increase mobility and endurance, and if done with a weight or resistance band, it would easily tick the strength box as well. For a C curve, you would stand on a small lift on the same side as the apex of the curve. Then, on the same side, you would move the arm forward to decrease the rib rotation. Lastly, the action is done by the free hand moving the top of the spine into straighter alignment. So, does it check the boxes? Let's have a look. Mobility, yes. Strength, yes. And this version would be just with your own body resistance, but if you put weight into your hand, it would easily get that strength box ticked as well. Endurance, yes. You just need to do lots of repetitions. Is it curve specific? Yes. Is it easy to use? Well, I think so. Does it do all three planes? Yes. So this is a whole body movement and it's easy to modify based on your curve. So this one for me gets a clean 6 out of 6. So let's bring it all together. The generic exercise help a little, but if your curve is progressing, you need exercises that tick more boxes: mobility, strength, and endurance in all three planes, and make sure they're tailored to your curve and that you can do them at home without any instruction, because if you always need an instructor, then that's very time consuming and can get very expensive. Now, if you want to learn what to do next, I've created a full training that walks you through it step by step. And I'll show you how to spot your curve progression, what to do to slow it down, and how to start maybe even reversing it right from home. You can find the training linked here or in the first pinned comment below. Click it when you're ready. Thanks for watching, and leave a comment if you want to dive deeper on any of the exercises I covered today.